Hey guys, welcome back to the shop for another round of SNS. So this is our holiday weekend. By the time you see this, it's going to be Christmas Eve and tomorrow will be Christmas Day. So I want to wish all my viewers a very Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, and I hope you all get to enjoy your time off with your friends and family and enjoy your Christmas. Hopefully you get a little extra enjoyment out of my new uploads that I've got for this weekend. And Merry Christmas, everybody. So we got another good mix of content for you this week. We got more of the same. I've got a couple of viewer gifts that's come in. We got one that is from a fellow YouTuber out there. Some new products that he's been developing. So we're going to get to that. Check those out. Also got another viewer gift that's come in. And I've also got some machining that we're going to throw in this episode also. Last week I showed you the gear and the shaft that we weighed, and that shaft right there is one that I've been working on at work. I've been building, machining, and I've been taking footage along the way. And there's a lot involved with machining a job of that size there. So I've been taking some video of it, and I've got different things that I'd like to share with you here. And I don't know if this is going to be another standalone series like heavy metal machining, but I've definitely got some footage to share with you. Hopefully this time I've got some new things to add to the mix there. Camera angles, you know, we got the new gimbal mount now, which helps take excellent shots. So we got the gimbal mount. I tried to get a couple new shots of that. And I pushed a little bit harder this time, I believe, with depth of cut and feed rates. So I'm really excited about sharing that with you. Very looking forward to it. So we've got plenty to share. Hopefully the next coming weeks I'm going to have some of those videos for you to watch. I'm not sure what's in store for this episode until I get it edited, but I know we've got some internal threading. I got a big tap that I used that I showed on Instagram, and we got a little bit of pressing action, and we've got some turning action. So stay tuned, and hopefully you enjoy all that footage right there. And I also wanted to do something else for you guys for this Christmas weekend. I know that a lot of people have been waiting for the finale or the final video of heavy metal machining. So I've got that video ready, and it is ready to go live. So that will be posted following this SNS. So be on the lookout for that. I wanted to get that done and get that job finished, and hopefully you guys like that. That'll be the end of the heavy metal machining, is the part 3. So I believe that's going to be the content that we got for this week. And I did want to give you one other update and maybe a little bit of a rant here. So I hope you don't mind. Last week I was outside and I took a shot out there, and I told you that I'm getting a new carport for the new car to sit underneath. You know, I don't have a garage. This was my garage. It's now a machine shop. So I wanted to put a carport outside as a temporary thing for the car to sit underneath there. I do have other plans in works for the property here as time goes forward. I would like to build another garage out here in the backyard, especially for the car to go in. And right now I just wanted to get a carport. So, you know, I told you that I'm getting a carport. Went down to the place right after I got the car and ordered it, and they told me it would be 6 to 8 week delivery. And I wasn't really happy about that, but what do? You know, people are busy. I understand that. People are busy. So I said, okay. Paid my down payment and agreed to it, picked the colors out. All right. I have not got one phone call from this company since I placed that order. I've had to call the place that I ordered from, which is a middleman, and they gave me the phone number to call. And I finally had to call them, and I finally got somebody on the phone, you know, and I told them, I said, hey, I got a carport ordered. What's the deal? What's going on? When am I going to get this thing? When are you coming? So they had to do a little research, and then they finally come back online and said, it's scheduled for the week of the 19th. And that's all she said to me. I'm like, okay, is that it? Is the week of the 19th? She said, yeah, scheduled for the week of the 19th, depending on the weather. I'm like, okay, is somebody going to call me and let me know when they're coming, what day they're coming, what time they're coming? Oh yeah, somebody will give you a call. I mean, that's all I'm getting. It's like, okay, I need a little bit more here. Help me out. and I didn't get it. And I was a little disappointed, and I'm really starting to get frustrated over this situation. And they were supposed to come out this week and install this carport, and I have not got the first phone call from anybody or anything, you know. So obviously it's not here. Tomorrow's Friday. I guarantee you they won't be here tomorrow. So I don't know. Maybe it'll be next week, but I'm a little unhappy with the way that I've been treated, and I'm sure I'm just another number to this company. That's really how I feel. I'm just another number, and it really upsets me. It really does. Me and my coworkers talk about this. You know, we're in our line of work. What we do, we have to perform. People bring us work, we have to get it done, and we treat people with respect. You know, we're hard workers, we get it done. And it seems like whenever I step outside of work and I want to go somewhere, it doesn't matter where, say a restaurant, it's like I never get treated the same way that I treat my customers, and it just really bothers me. It upsets me. Whenever you want to pay for a service to be done, you expect to get what you're paying for, and it's kind of rare to get that. I did get good service one time whenever I had to have the plumbing done on the house. It had to be all completely done, and I used a local company here, and I was glad to pay them. They came in 2 days, had the whole job done, and was out of there, and I was happy about that. But it seems to be really hard to find service like that. And you know, you go to a restaurant, sit down and eat, they don't treat you right, they don't give you what you order, and they give you attitude, and it just bothers me. I've had that a lot, you know, and I'll tell people, I'll tell them straight up, I was like, if I treated my customers the way that you just treated me, I wouldn't have a job, because people wouldn't come to me if I treated people like that. So it's just sad, you know. You work real hard, and you want to spend your hard-earned money on something, and you expect to get the same thing in return. It just doesn't seem to happen. So, and I feel like this is the same thing, you know. It's like Carport costs $1,000, and that may not be a lot of money to some, but that's a lot of money to me. And I expect to at least get a phone call, the decency of a phone call, to let me know when this thing is going to be set up, so I can schedule it around my time, you know, so I can be here and things like that. So it's just really bothered me, and I really hate to go on this rant about this. I don't have any intentions on getting in here and using my videos to blast people and put them down. I'm really not, but sometimes I get tired of the bad service that I get whenever I want to spend my money on something. So hopefully next week I'll give you another update on this, and if I don't get any better service, then I'm going to give them a mention again on video. I'm going to let everybody know how I feel about them, and I probably will not ever use them again, because I have plans to put a garage back here behind the house next to the shop right here, and there's other people in town that do the same stuff, so I'll be going to somebody else next time. So anyway, enough about that. I'm sorry that I ranted about that. Let's go ahead and get to our viewer mail, and then after that we'll get to some machine work. All right, so we've got an actual viewer gift that's come in, and we got these really nice Knipex multi-use wrenches, or multi-use pliers, I'm sorry. And these were sent in to me by Keith LaFale. Make sure I got that right. Keith LaFale, and he is from Bosra, Connecticut. And he sent a nice letter here, and was just telling me that he enjoys my videos as well as Keith Finner and Tom Lipton. And he just wanted to do something nice for me because of the videos, and so he decided to buy these Knipex pliers and send them my way. And in his letter, he even makes mention of the all 16ths wrenches, like I like to call them, you know, adjustable wrench. So these are made in Germany, and I have seen Knipex on YouTube before. I believe Tom Lipton is a fan of Knipex as well as AVE. I've seen some tools from him, and I've never had any Knipex tools myself, so this would be the first set. And these are really nice, man. They're definitely a good quality. So this one right here is good to 60 millimeter. They've got the sizes right there on the back. Get 60 millimeter or 2 1/8. And I like the way the jaw action, the sliding action there is with the pivot. And in the center you got this pin that you push that's spring loaded, and you can adjust them to wherever you want and it clicks back in. So nice quality tool right there. I've never had anything bad to say about a German made tool. It says right on there, made in Germany. So I know that Knipex is a good quality brand of tool to have. So these are going to be nice. Keith, thank you very much. We're going to put these in the toolbox, and these should last me a lifetime, man. Appreciate it. All right, so this is our other viewer mill come in, and this is a product that is made by Ryan Shanks, and this is his company here, Logic Industries. And he also has a YouTube channel there, so I'll be sure to share his link and a card there in the video. You can click on and go to his channel, and you can see more about this right here. So this is a product that he's been developing that's to help plumb your shop using a simple PEX tubing system right here. He calls these air bases, and he's got it tapped. I believe that's half inch NPT that he's got them tapped with. So you can install these PEX fittings here. You know, you buy your PEX tubing. I know you can get this stuff at Lowe's, Home Depot, anywhere like that. A plumbing supply, and your crimps. So you'll have to get you a crimp tool if you was to use this. Buy your crimp tool, and you can just plumb your shop just like so. You can get a few of these from him and mount them in different locations around the shop, you know, such as along a workbench like I have here, or over by a machine or something like that, and make it really simple to plumb in the shop using this right here. So he had asked me quite a while back, this was a few months ago, he had asked me if he could send me a couple of these to try out in the shop here. I do have some plumbing plan that I want to do around here, especially over by the Dual Mill. Run some air lines over there and eventually down this wall over here too. So Ryan, I don't know exactly when I'm going to get these things mounted up, but whenever I do some plumbing, I'm going to add these into my design to have these, and we'll use these also. This is one of my coil hose fittings right here, just as an example. Once you have this thing mounted up where you want it, you know, and your PEX hooked to it, plumbed, you have this mounted on the wall, on a piece of board or whatever. There's you a quick connect on the wall, or wherever you have this. So that's an example of what it would look like being used. I think I wasn't in the shot there. All right. So there's a couple stickers. So Ryan, we'll put you decal over there on the filing cabinet. There's a little bit of space left there, and he also he supplies with all the info that you need right here about it, what Loctite to use for the threads, and he's also got this code right here that he says if you scan that, we'll get it on frame there. So if you scan that, this should take you right to his website. Okay, so Ryan, thank you very much. Very nice products. The machining looks good. He did say that these are all made in USA. He makes them himself using USA made aluminum. So be sure to check out his channel, check out his website, and maybe pick you up a couple and give them a try. All right, one quick little segment right here. I wanted to show you these dividers. So last weekend I took a trip over to Biloxi, Mississippi, and I went to a few of the flea markets over there and a couple antique places. And the first flea market that I went to, I found these old dividers, and a guy had a couple of bins, some old tools, and I seen these and I picked them up. And I have not yet figured out what is on there, but I tell you, these things look really old to me. They look like they've been around a little while, but they still work good. Tips are still sharp. I'm just wondering if anybody watching maybe can help me identify. I'll see if I can get in there a little tighter shot. To me, it looks like I can make out an and W, like an and symbol and W and then 02. And then on the other leg there, if I flip it over, maybe that's a C. I'm not really sure, but they do look old. But I thought that was a nice find right there. Just a nice tool for the collection around here. I asked the guy what he wanted, and he said $5. So I was glad to pick them up. If you got any info on those, be sure to leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. All right, so I got one little modification that I need to do out here on the slab to get ready for the carport. Originally, this thing was set up with pipes that were set in the ground, and the concrete was poured around them. And whenever I tore this thing down, I just brought torch down here and I cut the pipes off. So some of the pipes are sticking up above the concrete a little bit. So I need to take my grinder and grind the pipes down flat. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Wrong way. Down, down. So some of them are sticking up. You can see where I torched them off there. All right, and there's a total of 6. So I got to grind those down. I think all of them need to be touched up. So we got the Metabo out here. Got my knee pad that Kevin gave me, and I'm gonna get these things slicked down, and hopefully next week. It's Thursday. Hopefully next week. They said the week of the 19th they'd be out here to put it up, weather pending. So we'll see about that, and hopefully I can get a shot or two of the carport going up. Maybe we won't set anything on fire out here. Hopefully. All right, I got them all ground flat. So anything uneven from here on, I'm letting the crew handle. We got them all ground though. So hopefully this time next week I'll have a nice carport there. I've had several guys ask me about my truck. I never really comment on it. I think I have in the past. That's a 98 Dodge Ram 3500 four-wheel drive. It's got the 24 valve Cummins diesel engine in it. And it's a low mileage truck. We got 139,000 miles on it. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
How we looking on that block?
Looking good. It'll chooch.
Here we go. Cover your ears.
There it is. Oh man, what was everybody so worried about? I don't know. All right, Tom. There's a nice race for you. Got it. So there's the reason why we got that big eye bolt for handling. There's our piece of 12-inch 4140 that we'll be using to make the new shaft with, the new gearbox shaft. So that's 12 inches in diameter and approximately 65 inches long. So I set this up in the horizontal boring mill, and I center drilled one end. I just scribed the center and drilled it with a number 7 center drill. So what the next step I'm going to do here is, I've got a couple places marked equally on both ends of the shaft, 8 inches from the end, same as down there, 3 inches wide. And what I'm going to do is machine an undercut here, true, and I'm going to machine both of them the same diameters. So once I get these machined, I'm going to set the big steady rest in here, and I'll adjust it to this right here. And once I finish the facing operations on this end, what we can do is we can flip it 180 and set that end down on the steady rest, and it'll be the same diameter as this one right here. I'm setting my cross slide to 0, and we're going to go ahead and start feeding. I'm going to use the 12 to 13 Starrett mic, and I'm going to mic this journal, what I just turned it to, and then write it down. $12 inches, 193. What I'm going to do is go ahead and just write it right here. 12.193. And I'll get the other side to match that, hopefully just within a few thou or so. Now that we're on the opposite end, what I'm going to do, I'm going to feed the cross slide back into that 0 and see if it'll clean it up. Maybe you want to put it in gear first. Now I did have to adjust my position this way a little bit because of the jaws coming in too close to the carriage here. And it's not going to clean it up. Now, one of the things about hot rolled steel like this, 4140, you can get it in mild steel. The hot rolled, they're not straight and round. You just get your 2 end positions centered up, and then you go from there. All right, so I'll have to readjust our steady rest points right here. I'll clean this one up, mic it, and then I'll go back to the other end and turn that one down to match this one. All right, so I plunged in to where you can see it's actually cutting all the way around now. I'm cleaning that up, and I re-zeroed the cross slide. So we're running 71 RPM, and I've got a 20,000 speed rate. All right, 160, 12 inch 160. So we'll we'll go ahead and write that down so I don't forget it. And we'll go match the other side. Let's see. We got her close. $162. 2,000's bigger than that end down there. I think that's close enough. You ever got a heavy load like this and you got to take the tailstock off? What you can do is block this thing up if you don't want to use a crane or something like that. I've got it blocked up with some wood here, really close to the bottom of that shaft, and it's got a couple of these wedges here that I'll put in from each side. One there, and one on that side there, and then when you back off on the tailstock, this will support it and it'll keep it really close to where it needs to be. Put your steady rest on here and then put your center back in it. All right, let's try some facing, shall we? All right, first cut there, that's 1/8. That's a 1/8 depth. All right, we're gonna spin her up a little higher here, and we're gonna start drilling the guts out of it. I've still got facing to do. I've actually got about 1 inch to face off this thing. Cut a little bit long. Help if you tighten up the tailstock. All right, so I'm gonna start with a 1/2 inch drill. This is how I like to do it. I don't have any of those big spade bits like some people do, where you can just hog it all out at one time. I'm just gonna bit me a pilot hole down in there, 8 inches deep, drilled and bored, and then we'll do some internal threading for that big eye bolt. All right, we got our long bit in there. We got us a mark there where we want our depth. Super accurate, of course. And don't forget, you want it well lubed up before you take the plunge. Put some go juice there. And make things easier, just how I do it, I'd crank a little bit and I back the tailstock out and bring it back in. Here, let me show you. Give it a couple cranks on the hand wheel. Try not to shatter your drill bit. Loosen it. Clear your chips. Keep on going. All right, we got our measly little 2-inch drill bit. We're gonna go in there and finish it out with that, and then we'll have to bore it to our actual tap size. Going in with that little boring bar. Got to bore it to our tap size, which should be 2.257 or around 2 1/4. So we're going to do some single point threading on this shaft right here, some internal single point threading, and that thread in there is a 2.5 4. 4 threads per inch, 2.5 diameter. And what I'm going to do, I've got an 1.5 inch boring bar set up with a tool bit that I ground. I got a couple pictures there to show you. That was a 1/2 inch tool bit that I had already ground, and I modified it and cut it off to fit this 1.5 inch boring bar. So I'm going to use that to kind of cut some of the threads out. And once I get some of the threads cut out of there, I've got this tap right here. That's a 2.5 4 Union Butterfield in really good shape. I'm going to use this hopefully to chase the threads and cut them to size. And I've also got to turn this. I got my Greenfield number 22 tap wrench right here, and this is a perfect size tap wrench for the lathe right here, because it'll swing, it'll go all the way around. You don't have to worry about it hitting the waves. There's a little stubby handle that I made for it just to kind of equal out the length. I was for a while just grabbing it right there, and that'll allow you to use it. But I grabbed this, used that piece of tubing and threaded it, and now it's got sort of an equal length. So you can hold these bigger shanks like that and easily turn them. It's just one way I like to get it done. So I'll bring you in here and try to get you a shot and get some threading done. So I've already got my cross slide set to 0. We got our compound set, and I've already made a light scratch pass and went all the way down in there. I've got a 0 set over here with a mag back indicator indicating when I need to stop. It's very close to this right here, and I've already checked it with my pitch gauge, and we're good to go. So ready to start cutting. I was going to point out one thing to you. All right, so on the American Pacemaker, this is much like the Monarch. They both have this feature built in to where you can tighten up. It's a threading stop. So on this one, you bring it back to where you want it and you tighten this screw here. And what that does is it gives you a positive stop. And you set your collar to 0. You have a positive stop. Each time you return to start a new cut, you can bring it back to 0. And that makes it easy to keep up with. That's one way that I like to do it, and that's the way I've always done it. So it's familiar for me. You bring it back to 0, and I'm not keeping up with this dial each pass, doing a straight in-feed cut. I just don't like doing it that way. And I keep up with my cuts here each pass, just moving it a little each time. So that's what we're going to be doing. We get through with our cut, I'll move in, bring the carriage back out, bring it back to 0, and then bring the compound back. Feed a little bit each time. So it's about 7.5 inches deep. I'll put a little bit of oil up in there. That's about 20 thou. Let's see what it'll do. Didn't hardly make a noise. Hopefully it'll continue doing good like that. All right, we're gonna bring it back to 0. Let's go another 20. There's gonna be a lot of cutting on this, so I actually should take a little more than that. We just got a lot of stick out here. Let's double it. We're gonna try 40 thou. All right, and I'm cutting an even pitch. That's 4 pitch. My lead screw is 2 threads per inch. So I'm hitting any of the 8 lines on the threading dial. That tool looks like it's doing pretty good. I gave it plenty of back rake. All right, I think I got her pretty well roughed out. I'm gonna go ahead and see if we can get the tap centered up. I'm gonna try to do this without putting the center in it at first. I've still got the bar here. So let's give it a try. We got her oil down. Alright, let me grab the handle. Oh yeah. It's going to take some torque. Alright, we're going to give something a try. Make sure it's see whenever you need to, or it gets tight, just let go. I have it against the palm of my hand and my fingers where it'll just kind of slip out, just pull away. Oh, that's freaking tight. All right. She definitely ain't getting no easier. That's about all I can handle. I'm gonna go ahead and take it out of there and look at it, but I think I'm gonna have to run the bar in there a few more light passes or some spring passes or something, and try to scrape in a little bit more. It ain't gonna take much, but every little bit helps come off that boring bar. So I just made 3 spring passes in there, and what was neat is that the first part of the cut where the tap has already been, it wasn't actually cutting, but I could hear the tool in there. And then once it got back there where it was where the tap hadn't been, I was actually pulling a little bit of metal. So I brought it in on the last cut there. I brought it in once the tool started engaging the threads and going through there, I backed in on the compound just to where the tool was actually touching it and made a pass through there. So that was that cut there. Now I'm gonna go back in there with the tap and see if we can finish this out with it. Oh, that's it right there. That's the bottom. That's one way to do it. That's one way to probably piss a lot of people off. It works though.
Went to the beach and went swimming in the ocean one time.
How was that?
Cold.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Was it random story time again?
About a gay Nazi or something.
So today it was religion, huh? All right, man. I think our tap worked.
So it looks nice.
Yeah, I think she worked out. This is a good reason why you got to have one in your toolbox, man. Everybody needs a 2.5 tap. You know? Yeah. All right, now that we've used up a half a day's worth of A-bomb torque and willpower, let's see if our efforts were worth it. I think we have great success. Yes, sir. All right. Well, our threading is completed. I've actually got to go in there and counterbore this out a little bit bigger on the end and then machine a center, and that part will be done. Then we can start roughing in the shaft. So I don't believe that this shaft in this eye bolt, that isn't threaded to be able to use this eye bolt. That's the threads that's in the shaft. I believe the coupling that goes on this shaft has a retainer that's a 2.5 inch thread size that is used to hold it on there. But we picked up this eye bolt so that whenever the mechanics, you know, the technicians are building this gearbox, they can easily just stick this eye bolt in there to be able to pick the shaft and the gear up to lower it down into the gearbox. So, but we can use this to check our threads though, right? All right, so there's our coarse threading of the day.